Ever since the dismal launch of Overwatch 2, there's been a pretty big hole in the market for new hero shooters, and there have been plenty of attempts to fill it. Whether that's Marvel Rivals or whatever new thing Valve's working on that's keeping them from fixing TF2, or even fan-made mods for other games. But what if there was another? One that was supposed to come out 3 fucking years ago! This is Star Wars Hunters, a mobile game that's also on the Switch. Now, instead of being ahead of this strange Overwatch clone push that's happening right now, it finds itself clawing its way out of development hell, dead in the middle of it. But hey, maybe this is a prime time for a game like this to launch. Especially with the Star Wars IP. I mean, after all, when it comes to Star Wars games, the genre list has been pretty small. And don't even get me started on the barren state of the mobile gaming side.
Holy shit!
But do Star Wars Hunters have what it takes to be a big game in this space? There's only one way to find out. At its core, this is a mobile Star Wars flavored Overwatch. It's a 4v4 game with 12, technically 13 characters here at launch. We'll get to that. And they're separated into 3 classes: damage, support, and tank. Speaking of characters, let's dive into that a bit more. Most of these characters have pretty obvious parallels to certain other characters from other games. For example, we have this Wookiee, who is a melee tank with a charge attack that can pin people to the wall, and an ultimate that can knock people to the ground and stun them. Okay, well, how about a sniper who has a grappling hook and the ability to see through walls? Okay. How about the healer with extra movement abilities whose ultimate can boost everyone's health over the maximum health cap? Fuck it. We got a tank that rolls around? Alright, you know what? I tried. I'll give them the fact that these abilities are scrambled around a bit instead of being whole copy and pastes of characters from Overwatch, and there are some abilities completely original for this, like lightsabers deflecting blaster fire. But with Overwatch being such a prominent game, it's hard not to see where they just ripped things straight from it. But what about the characters themselves? I mean, that's gotta be most of the reason you would even want to use the Star Wars IP, right?
Who the hell are you?
To be honest, design and concept-wise, I think most of these characters completely miss the mark. Almost none of them feel like they really need to be Star Wars characters. There's exceptions for sure, like the droid, who thinks he's a Jedi and uses the Force by shooting out a grappling hook. And, of course, there's 2 Jawas in a trench coat. Can you really be mad about that one? But looking through the rest of the character roster, it's Glup Shido City over here. There's a part of me that wonders, especially looking at something like Marvel Rivals, why they didn't just use pre-existing Star Wars characters. I mean, look at Galaxy of Heroes. That game's entire business model relies on you using pre-existing Star Wars characters, and it's making tons of fucking money. This isn't like Overwatch, where there's comics and cinematics and cancel story modes that help flesh out these characters and give players a chance to become fans. Or, haters.
Don't nerf Bastion, delete him. Delete is in all cap.
I mean, these characters just exist as a way to facilitate the gameplay, right? So why can't we use Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader? I mean, we know why. It's because of Lucasfilm's weird policy where everything is canon except some things aren't canon. I don't really get it, and it's been really fucking with a lot of Star Wars media for a while now. But maybe we can overlook the characters if the gameplay is really fun, right? Right? Look, it's not the worst, and trying to make a straight comparison to other hero shooters out there isn't fair. I mean, sure, this is obviously built for the mobile market. I mean, just look at the game's main menu compared to other games like Call of Duty Mobile. It's a pick up and play type of game. The matches are less than 5 minutes, the maps are tiny, and the objectives are pretty simple, no matter the game mode. The question with a game, especially one in this genre, is did they simplify it too much? And that's a lot harder of a question to answer. The squad battle mode, for example, is simply a team deathmatch. I don't think it gets simpler than that. But I do have to wonder if this is something where looking at the composition of your team matters all that much. Why go support when you could all go damage and just kill the other team faster? But then you have other modes like dynamic and power control, which focus on holding specific points for longer than your opponents. This actually requires teamwork. But of course, in yet another way that the game simplifies itself in comparison to its competition, there's no voice chat. So if you want to communicate with your team, you have to use some outside service like Discord. But if you're solo queuing, you just kind of have to hope your team is doing the right thing and give them positive reinforcement with thumbs up emotes in the middle of the match. Not to mention that the actual feeling of the gameplay itself isn't great. The best way I can describe it is if you were playing a shooter with the Mario Kart 8 assists on. I don't feel like aiming matters. And so many of the abilities are just lock-ons anyway, and the movement feels okay, but it's also kind of floaty. So yes, this game is watered down, but for what it's meant to be and for where it's meant to be played, I think it's watered down just enough. I mean, it's a mobile game, right? It's meant to be casual. What do you fucking mean there's ranked? Okay, well, what I just said goes out the window. You can't be this super casual pick up and play type of game while also trying to have a ranked mode. There's no functional difference to rank besides watching a new number go up and down, and I guess if you aren't good like me, you'll get humbled a bit. But, of course, how could we forget my least favorite part? Did I mention this is a free-to-play game? New items in the shop. Give me your fucking credit card. This is a robbery. Yeah, so I despise this. The cosmetics are whatever. I don't think anything they're showing here is worth the outrageous prices that they're asking for, but at least they aren't necessary. You can also, of course, pay to unlock the base game heroes quicker, whether that's through bundles that also include skins or by using crystals that you have to buy with real money. But you do also unlock them as you play, very slowly. So at least you can feel a sense of pride and accomplishment while on your break at work. But my least favorite thing that they've done is locking new heroes behind the battle pass. Yeah, obviously this game has a battle pass. Apparently, they will be free after the season, but still, this sucks. Luckily, due to team compositions meaning fucking nothing in this game, you aren't really at a disadvantage if you don't buy the battle pass, but it still feels scummy to me nonetheless. Now, if the event that makes you play as a random hero comes around, then you do get a chance to play as him, as well as any other hunter you haven't unlocked, but that's a 1 in 13 chance, so good luck! If you're anything like me, you'll get stuck playing as the very first character you unlock over and over and over again. I feel like I've complained for most of this video, so I'm gonna try and tell you some of the things I like here. You level up characters as you play, which upgrades their abilities, and as far as I know, you can't pay for that to happen faster, so I like that. I also appreciate the quick-paced matches themselves. Sitting down to commit to a 20-minute Overwatch match just to be yelled at because my healing isn't good enough is never a good use of my time. But maybe a quick 5-minute Hunters match can be a more appropriate time waster. I really like the sniper. I also do appreciate the fact that, at least for right now, they do seem to be committed to supporting the game. It's been a few weeks since launch, and they've added another game mode called Control that totally isn't familiar at all. Honestly, if they want to steal another game mode, I think an escort mode would be a lot better, though I guess those matches would take longer. Regardless, I hope further support can lead to a deepening of the challenge and the fun that this game can provide. It's off to a really rocky start in my eyes, that's for sure, but there is some kind of foundation there that means that this game could be built up into something. I mean, that foundation is also very unstable and is one Marvel Rivals launch away from being completely knocked over, but with the right kind of support, this game could potentially have years of longevity. Who the fuck am I kidding? This game's gonna be dead in like 6 months.